SKYCAL live overhead as fires leave a path of destruction across Southern California. We haven't been able to get a good bird's eye view yet of that destruction.
That's right, Amy. Our choppers SKYCAL grounded the last couple of days because of those high winds. Strictly for safety reasons, it was just not safe for SKYCAL to lift off the ground. But you can see here these first pictures coming into us from SKYCAL headed towards the Pacific Palisades area to cover the Palisades fire. And just look at how spotty, Amy, this shot is showing just all these different fires burning in different areas. Still the ground smoldering, still active flame out there as more and more homes are lost to this fire.
And you know what's interesting, Juan, is it looks so dark. You would almost think it was 8 o'clock at night, but it's only, 2:39. It should be nice and bright out there, but there is so much smoke that is really blocking the sunshine, and it looks like it's evening time out there because there is still so much dark smoke. Look at it all. When we get a wider look at it, you can just see so much smoke just creating this really dark destruction.
And affecting so many people. And you can see now when our Mike Rogers on the desk shows us those evacuation zones, why the areas need to be evacuated, Mike. This area is covering such a large, this fire covering such a large area of our viewership.
Yeah, and I want to give some perspective as to where SKYCAL is sitting and which direction he is looking at. So they lifted off of Van Nuys and then headed west through the valley and came down south through Calabasas, and they're slowly working their way east. So he is almost physically sitting on top of Topanga Canyon Highway rather. So that is where he is looking. He's looking east. So yeah, the top end of the north end of the fire here is what is approaching, through the Santa Monica Mountains there as he pans up and looks out. Now I'm going to ask Oliver. Oliver, can you just kind of zoom all the way out so we can get a totality of what we're looking at here? And you can see the city back to the left, and this just massive plume of smoke. And as you see the skid getting in the shot there as Oliver pans to the right, you can't even see the ocean because of all of the smoke. And there is the city that we're looking at. So back off to the left over there of the fire is going to be like the 405, and then you'll see some of the other cities that you're looking at there. But it's really kind of wild to see how close everything has gotten as it kind of starts to begin to chew through the canyons more to the west. And you can see just how dramatic some of these pictures are, some of the flame lengths. And now you understand truthfully why this needs to be fought from the air, why this is such a necessity that we have the aircraft that are able to drop in some of these canyons and some of these really rough terrain areas. As you can see some of the really crazy flame lengths as Oliver pushes in there on the hillside, and again covered in smoke, so it gets really dark down there and a little bit difficult to see, but it is something that is kind of continuing to burn, and obviously we're starting to get our first look at it from SKYCAL here.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. We're getting some more information here into our newsroom regarding expanded mandatory evacuation orders for Santa Monica. So here they are. They include all areas north of Montana Avenue from the beach to 11th Street. And again, this is due to the Palisades fire. The order adds to the previously announced mandatory evacuations for the areas north of San Vicente Boulevard, from Ocean Boulevard to 26th Street. An evacuation warning is in place for all other areas north of Montana and for all areas north of Wilshire Boulevard and west of 10th Street, which is quite amazing. Again, expanded mandatory evacuation orders to include all areas north of Montana Avenue, Amy, from the beach to 11th Street.
And we really hope that our viewers that are listening to this, Juan, are taking it very seriously. I know that the fire started yesterday, and a lot of people think, oh, we're out of the woods because it's been burning so long, but we're not.
If we can go back to SKYCAL one more time, I just want to check in with them as they're getting into position because this fire certainly is not looking better. SKYCAL now coming back towards the east, getting over like the Hidden Hills area is where they're looking at this from. And I'm going to ask Oliver if you can zoom out just a little bit so we can get a good look of kind of the totality of things. It's always crazy to see it from this big situation here, and that's what Oliver is looking at right now as we come down into the Calabasas area over the 101 freeway, which, by the way, Calabasas still under those voluntary evacuation warnings. So we're dealing with all of that as we await this press conference from the city of Pasadena, guys.
And Mike, while we wait for this news conference, I have a question regarding evacuations, and maybe you know or don't know the answer, but regarding people who are being told that they have to mandatorily evacuate, I understand in some cases they're receiving a text of some sort. How are they being notified that they're in the area that needs to evacuate? Do you know?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways, right? You'll get the emergency alerts on your phone. If you have those activated, that will let you know that you should evacuate. Some cities, depending on the municipality that they're in, will do the dispatch centers can either send you an automated phone call, an automated text message, something like that will let you know to evacuate. Generally, those really big, loud alerts that you get on your phones, the EAS, the emergency, I can't remember what exactly.
The EAS?
Yeah, something like that. Those are the ones that you'll get, usually most quickly. And actually, I just want to pivot really quick because it looks like
what's happening.
That looks
there?
like another house that's on fire. Oliver, that looks like a house that's on fire, right? Wow. I'm just gonna see where that's at. Yeah, and it is. And so Oliver is he's coming over the Calabasas area. I would venture to guess, and we'll see if he can get any closer. But it looks like that may be maybe even off like Old Topanga Canyon or somewhere in there. Ollie, are you looking directly off your nose? Loma Matisse is what he's telling me.
So not even close to the Eaton Canyon fire yet.
No, and this is we're back to the Palisades fire.
This is Topanga.
Yeah, this is Topanga. So Loma Matisse is where he says this is. I'm just going to look for that on a map here, but he is coming back into like I said, the Topanga Canyon area. So this is, obviously not what you want to see, and it's again, we are now several days into, or not several days, but day 2 of this really destructive fire that just doesn't even have any signs of letting up. As we can see, homes are still burning in that area.
And this is a time, Mike, when winds are dying down, like you mentioned, and this house seems to be kind of alone on its own for the most part, at least from what we can see there from SkyCal. And yet an ember made its way there, and we have another home that is caught on fire. Incredible. So if you do get one of those emergency alerts that Mike was just telling us about, definitely pay attention to it and heed a warning. Mike?
In the meantime, we have something else to tell you about, something we had been dreading, but Mike Rogers, you can break the news.
Yeah, this is a brand new fire burning in the Hollywood Hills. This is at Runyon Canyon where this fire is burning. So Runyon Canyon, the main trailhead is just to the right there. Interesting enough, Runyon Canyon had been closed today. LA Parks closed both Griffith Park and Runyon Canyon out of an abundance of caution to avoid things like this. Left side of your screen, that is from our Hollywood Hills camera where you can see it. That's a fixed camera. The right side of your screen is SkyCal where you can see this. Now I can tell you, I have seen so far one water dropping helicopter that has come in, Fire 3. The problem is as we've talked about, all of these helicopters are busy doing other things and other fires. So there are currently 3 fire helicopters up. They're all over back at the Palisades fire. So we'll see if they are going to divert and come deal with this or how exactly they're going to do it. The good news is there's not really a ton of homes immediately in this area. I mean, obviously there are off to the west, but the way that the fire is kind of burning is it's burning more up into the hiking area versus over into where the homes are. And let me pull up the camera here really quick so I can just get a better look at it. But this happened, we actually watched it start. SkyCal got eyes on it before the fire department had even been called. So 5:34 was what time the call came out for LA City Fire to get on this one. You can see some of the engines that are coming up. Nichols Canyon Road is to the top of it, to the north of it here. And then obviously the fire there as well. And we've been kind of watching this and it hasn't grown, too terribly exponentially, and actually some of the larger flames seem to have died down. The Runyon Canyon area, if you're familiar with it at all, is a lot of very low-lying vegetation. There's not a lot of tall trees, and it is kind of burning uphill here, and then it gets into this area, and it kind of put itself out at least a little bit. So it is kind of starting to burn itself out. We saw that helicopter come in, and they did one water drop. That happened during the press conference there. So we'll see. It looks like Fire 1 just lifted off from where it was over the Palisades fire and is headed this way. So, hopefully we will see a couple good drops here and can be done with this one. It doesn't appear, it's not, moving entirely too rapidly at this point. So hopefully we'll get a couple drops on it and can call it a day.
Juan and I were just talking, though. We're just wondering how this happens. We hear about spot fires, embers, and all that, but it just... just talking here, it seems like if it was from an ember from one of those fires that we would see more of this. So, thinking out loud.
I would say this is probably too far away for it to have for anything of that to do with it. Just because the hiking trail is technically closed doesn't mean everybody listened. And all that stuff can happen. We've seen weird situations where people decide that this is the time of day they need to do weed whacking and something starts that way. So we don't know the cause of it at this point, but it does look like it kind of, where we first spotted it, did look like, not from a home or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see what the fire department is able to figure out about a cause. But, certainly the trail Runyon Canyon was supposed to be closed today. but obviously there's ways around everything.
Right, and you were saying, Mike, this is mostly concentrated or close to that Runyon Canyon hiking loop that so many people use, right?
Yeah, so that's on the right side of the screen here, right where that ridge is. That's where you get into more of Runyon Canyon and where the hiking trail is. So you've got Runyon Canyon Road. You know, if you've ever climbed that hill, you get to the top there. There's that bench up at the top, and then it kind of comes around, and then even further to the top is that neighborhood. It's kind of up in that area. So
Close to Mulholland, yeah.
Right. It's at the very, very top of Runyon, and it's burning into Runyon versus if it was burning to the west, it'd be burning more towards home, but it's burning more to the east. In fact, when we first saw it, we actually thought it was on the Hollywood sign because we were looking at it from quite a distance.
Right. Okay, Mike, well, you know, we could get more information, of course, from meteorologist Evelyn Taft. You're very familiar with this area, Ev, and maybe you can explain how the winds, are they affecting what we're looking at right now?
Yeah, absolutely, Pat. And of course, we're all very familiar with the area. Lots of us hiking through that area, that's for sure. And this is the top of Runyon Canyon, like we were just talking about, Mulholland. So a lot of brush burning. But again, this is near Solar Drive. And of course, that is a residential area in Nichols Canyon. And as we take a look right now, you will see the fire burning pretty rapidly. And just visually, it does look like it's growing. As Mike was saying, looks like maybe we're getting somewhat of a handle on it. The good news is that winds aren't too crazy in the area right now. So just holistically speaking, we're looking at about 20 plus mile per hour winds at the peak, but really we're looking at winds in the teens. And I just want to tell you that's relative to where we were last night. So last night, I just want to put it into perspective. We were looking at 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts across parts of Southern California, even 80, 90, 100 mile per hour wind gusts across parts of Southern California as well. So winds have significantly died down and laid down tonight. That is working in our favor. The other recipe to fire danger, of course, is not just wind. That's a big part of it because that drives fire, but it's that dry brush. And we are looking at exceptionally dry conditions out there right now. They're expected for days now. Really, it's going to be days before we start to see any jump in relative humidity. So let's talk about relative humidity right now in the area. And we are down to the single digits in teens across the entirety of Southern California and areas affected by fires. Right now, Runyon Canyon, of course, affected as well. And we are looking at dangerously low relative humidity. What we don't want is single digit relative humidity. And we're getting close to single digits in some parts of the valley. We are in the teens, which is not great, but still, again, it could be worse. So fire is laying down right now. The peak of the extreme fire conditions already happening. Winds did peak earlier today. They are on the downswing, but they could be on the upswing. And we're looking ahead to Thursday at this point. And I do want to take you through your wind futurecast. And by Thursday, and of course, Hollywood Hills included in here as well, we could start to see conditions start to pick up again. That's tomorrow night. So we're not really in the clear at all, really through the end of the week. But conditions will start to get a little calmer. But again, red flag warnings through Friday at this point. So I do want to come back to your peak wind gusts. And just to show you earlier this morning, I mean, we were looking at gusts in the 60, 70, 80, 90 mile per hour range. And that is absolutely nothing close to what we're looking at across Southern California right now. Our eyes currently on the fire that just broke out near Runyon Canyon. This is Nichols Canyon at the top of Runyon, not at the bottom of Runyon. The bottom of Runyon, you enter there on Fuller in Hollywood, close to La Brea as you make your way along Hollywood Boulevard. This is the other side of Runyon. So as you make your way up to Mulholland and Nichols Canyon, Woodrow Wilson connects up there, and that's where the top of Runyon is located. This particular fire affecting just the area near Solar Drive, but of course we know how rapidly these fires could spread. But the saving grace tonight is just the fact that we are looking at relative humidity again up in the teens, not great, and wind speeds currently again quite low compared to where we've been. Not low, but relatively speaking, so much lower than where we have been. So again, we are in the 20 mile per hour range, that orange on your map indicating wind speeds in the teens right now. So remember, there is an uptick in winds, but that's not going to be until tomorrow night. Otherwise, we are looking at, again, the wind will continue. It will stay sustained as is at this point. I am getting a look at what we call our fire snooper with the National Weather Service. And as we take a look at current conditions in the area, I do want to tell you that relative humidity is officially in the teens, and we are looking at wind gusts between about 18 and 20 miles per hour. But of course, on the ridge tops, could get a little gustier there as well. So we're going to continue to keep eyes on Hollywood Hills. We are getting a look at the sky right now. It doesn't look like we're seeing the ridge tops. There we go. We're looking at a few hot spots if we can sort of focus back in. It does look like there is a water dropping helicopter in the area right now. And the good news is that the aircraft, well, they're flying because wind is much lower. So we can perform, fire department can absolutely perform water drops across all of Southern California tonight, including this new brush fire that is breaking out at the top of Runyon Canyon. Again, that is technically in Nichols Canyon, off of Mulholland, near Woodrow Wilson, near Solar Drive currently. So again, capable of spreading quickly, and gusts right now, again, lower than where we've been in the 20-mile-per-hour range. Winds coming out of the northeast currently. So again, these are your warm, dry, gusty winds. And we will continue to, of course, keep an eye on the Hollywood Hills as we continue to keep eyes all across Southern California, including the Palisades, including Eaton Canyon, including the high desert as well, where everybody's really looking at similar conditions as far as wind goes. But remember, ridge tops absolutely could get much windier conditions. That's really what we're looking at as we head into the overnight hours. We do have to stay vigilant. And as far as the fire trajectory goes all across Southern California, with Hollywood Hills included, the wind is traveling from the northeast. So just keep that in mind. And the strongest winds will continue to impact ridge tops and higher elevations, especially foothill communities now, including the Hollywood Hills. And that's really what we were worried about. So again, winds continue to calm slightly tonight, with that uptick continuing through tomorrow night, and winds will gradually taper off by Friday afternoon, but we still have a little ways to go before we get there. Some spots still could see 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts as the uptick happens. But as I take a look at our fire weather snooper forecast, and this is coming out of the National Weather Service, and these are all your current conditions right now, we are looking at, again, wind speeds up to 20 miles per hour, 25 miles per hour, and relative humidity in the teens and 20s. So could be worse, but certainly, Pat and Juan, could be better. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, we're going to take the better, Evelyn, that's for sure. And we want to update our viewers now at 6 o'clock. You are watching our continuing coverage of the wildfire disaster that's happening across Southern California. We are simulcasting on CBS Los Angeles and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles. And here's what we know right now. SKYCAL over the scene of a new brush fire in the Hollywood Hills. That's what you're looking at on our picture near Runyon Canyon. It's moving quickly uphill, and additional firefighting crews are being called to the scene. Now, the Palisades fire is now the most destructive wildfire in LA County history. More than 15,000 acres have burned so far.